just working today. Not terribly exciting stuff, but it's beautiful and rainy outside, so I'll probably take a few breaks just to stare at the rain. Obviously won't be doing much of a walk outside. I suppose I still could. I like to go out with my umbrella and just be in the wet, gloomy atmosphere, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see how we go. Not that much to report, really. I'm probably going to do some drawing tonight, some digital drawing, so I'll do screen recording of that, and if I like it, or even if I don't like it, I'll put it on my Spectacular Drawing channel. I've decided that, like, I've been pressuring myself to maintain what I've already been doing to keep consistency for the channel. And then any projects that I want to do have been, like, added to that, and I'm giving myself, like, this huge work list of stuff to do, when really what I want is to just, like, be creative in my own way and share that process. So I think I'm just going to do that. So instead of, like, doing my normal, like, roll a dice and design a character based on the roll of the dice video, and then also doing a character design for a webcomic idea that I had, and then also doing, like, a character design demonstrating how I imagine characters from my book, I'm just going to do whatever comes naturally, whatever I feel like doing, and then when I have the footage of, like, my drawing and the results, and, like, when I have something, that will be the video. So instead of scheduling ahead of time to say, well, I need to do a D&D style video this week, it's just going to be what I feel like doing. So I might feel like drawing one of the characters from When Lambs Grow Fangs. I might feel like rolling a dice and letting that decide what I'm drawing, or I might feel like working on this webcomic idea that I have, and whatever I'm doing, that's what's going to get posted. Hopefully the people who have already subscribed to that channel like that. Obviously they can just unsubscribe if they don't like it. I don't want to stop making videos, but I also don't have such a huge following that I'm making money from it, or I feel like I have to. Well, I do kind of feel like I have to keep making what I've been making because some people obviously like it. I currently have 132 subscribers on that channel. I don't know how many of them actually get notified when the videos come out, or how many of them are actually watching those videos. I purposely don't look at the analytics side of things, because I hate numbers, and also it just feels like an invitation to stress out about stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna just make what I feel like making, and it's gonna be a bit different every time, and that's okay. Because the point of my channel is for me to show what I'm doing. So, I mean, having this separate channel is more of a thing of, like, in that other channel, I won't show my face very much, and a lot of the art that I make will be digital art. And the stuff on this channel will be, like, my bullet journaling, stuff about my obsession of, like, characters and reading and stories, and I might do some critiques of stories and tropes and things like that. Haven't really decided. It's more a thing of, like, when I feel like having a chat, this is where I'll post that. And when I feel like demonstrating, like, hey, I made this thing, the other channel is where I'll be posting that. So that's a roundabout way of saying I'm leaning into my do less mantra of the year of my life currently. I need to remind myself to do less, and even when I feel inspired to do more things, I can do those things instead of other things, not in addition to all the things I'm already doing. So I haven't given up on making characters from the roll of a dice, but I'm also not really feeling that at the moment. So we'll get back to that eventually, but for now I'm going to lean towards my muse, which is not a person, it's just like a big thought bubble. Yeah. And that's where I'm at today. It's Thursday now, and it's still a bit overcast, but definitely clearer than it was yesterday. I just made myself some Vietnamese rice paper rolls, probably not very authentically, but trying to be a little bit healthier. I say a little bit because I am still indulging in a lot of not so healthy treats. But you know, you got to have a balance in life of like the things you enjoy and the things that are good for you. It's nice when they are the same thing, but usually they are not. I didn't really talk much yesterday about Monday, which is my writing day. I usually think about doing some sort of vlogging, the like write with me style vlogs, but I'm literally sitting on the sofa the whole day, looking at my laptop, typing, looking into the middle distance, doing some more typing. So I feel like it's more interesting to talk about the things I'm doing when I'm not writing, which is not always a lot of stuff, but obviously I occupy my time, so there's a few things to talk about, I guess. So I kind of touched on this a little bit before, but I do have a lot of creative endeavors, like my drawing and having ideas for, like, if I want to do sticker sheets and webcomics, and I have ideas for other books. Like, I have a lot of ideas for stories where obviously, like, it takes years to actually write a full book. And, well, not for everyone, but for me, it takes years. And so having the idea will usually ruminate for a really long time, especially because I feel like I can really only focus on writing one book at a time, but I can be planning multiple books. So, I've got like 3 other concepts for books planned after the one I'm writing now. And I haven't decided if they're all going to be set in the same world, or there is the concept of multiverses introduced in my first book. They pass through the void, where you can see like lots of little star glimmers of like, they're kind of portals where you can see what's in that world. Just as you're passing through the void, and it looks a little bit like a universe because there's so many of them, but anyway, that's a whole separate subject. I've been reading Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros, if you haven't heard of it. I'm getting through it pretty well, and part of the reason I'm getting through it is because I'm listening to it as an audiobook when I feel like I don't have time to just sit down and focus on reading. It's my preference to sit down, but usually if I'm like going for a walk or drawing or doing something physical, there is the opportunity to also be listening to a story. And so I feel like it's almost a wasted opportunity when I'm not doing that. That said, I did go for a walk yesterday, and I just listened to like meditation music because it was all rainy and like cozy and nice, and I didn't want to have a voice running through my head. I wanted to be more present while I was walking, so that was really nice. I never really know what to talk about when I'm filming, and then when I'm like on a walk and I'm not filming, I have all these great ideas of like poignant thoughts and life advice and things like that, and now I can't think of them because that's just how my brain works. Yeah. And it's May. It is May now. I didn't do anything for a really long time. That's not true. I did a lot of things. I wrote them down. Here we go. Okay, so after talking about all this, like, oh, I'm gonna focus on the things I want to do, and like, you just heard it, so I'm not gonna go over it again, but we had the Easter holidays, and I basically lost all momentum and just didn't make anything. And the benefit of that was that I have now physically read, not audiobook read, multiple books. And I'm thinking about doing reviews as videos for them, but I do feel a little uncomfortable making book review videos in that I feel like it's not a real review or a real critique unless you focus on pros and cons. But also I'm aware that like when it's a video, even though I don't have a lot of people watching my videos, but it's out there, and there is a very small percentage likelihood that the author will actually hear what I have to say and be hurt or offended. Most authors are prepared to get critiques, but some of them aren't, and they have like an outward facing like, yeah, that's fine, but inwardly they're like, I'm gonna remember that forever, and it really hurt my feelings. Especially, I think, like, some of the thoughts I have on books are often things where I'm like, there's a plot hole. There's a hole in the plot which completely ripped me out of the immersion of the story. And sometimes it's because my brain derped out during a part that I should have read, and that's fine, because that means that if I put it online, other people will comment to be like, oh no, because on this page they said this, which explains why this happened. But in a lot of other ones, like, usually I'll Google it before I will be like, hey, this seems wrong. But yeah, in a lot of other ones, it seems like it's just a mistake, that the book just doesn't make sense, and that makes me sad. Anyway, so yeah, I've been reading a few different books, Onyx Storm, and do I want to name them all? Yeah, I will. Okay, so The Finding by Angelica Grimm. That one is special to me because it's by another independent author who is Australian, and she actually somewhat inspired me to actually decide to write a book. I had received a book that was like a different genre, but by the same person, many years ago, and it kind of, I don't know what it was, but it tweaked in my brain that, like, yes, you can, as a person who doesn't have a whole degree in writing, and without getting permission from anyone, you can just sit down and write an entire book. You can just do that. And so I took some of the ideas that had been whirling around in my brain, and usually when I'm trying to fall asleep, I will basically watch a little movie in my head of stories that I tell myself. I wrote some of that down, and that slowly became a book, and that book is When Lambs Grow Fangs, which I mentioned before. And there's going to be a second book, which is a continuance of that book. It's sort of like the first book is its own full story, but then it's like there's a little hook at the end to be like, but she hasn't finished yet. And then this is the second half of that duology. I'm having a lot of fun writing book 2 because she goes into fairyland. Spoilers, but not really, because you don't know the context of anything, unless you've read the book, in which case you know, because that the hook is like, she's got to go there, she got to go and do the stuff. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, other books that I read. I also read The Spell Shop, which is by someone, Elizabeth Durst. I'll put it on the screen. I loved this book. It also had a thing in it where I was like, that doesn't make sense. There's a part where, like, towards the end, not at the end, but towards the end, the main character is worried that, like, the bad guy can't know that this other creature exists. But in a previous scene, the bad guy had been interacting with that creature, so they already had met and everyone knew each other existed. I might get into more detail on that later. I'll make some review videos when I can be bothered. Yep. Anyway, yeah, I haven't done a lot of drawing. I tried to combat my writing slump by taking part in this, like, online trend of the, like, no AI making yourself into a doll with little accessories thing. I don't know if you've seen it. I'll put mine up here. It was a bit of fun. I don't think I'll put that as like a creation video on my drawing channel, because I put like the progress as one of those quick videos on Instagram, and I don't really have a lot to say about it, even though it is depicting my life. One thing that came from that, though, is I got a little bit sad about, like, I feel like I don't have a good sense of, like, clothing style. I've spent a very long time just wearing whatever, and I still am, but I've spent a lot more time on Pinterest trying to like create a mood board of what kind of style I want to curate for myself, and over the length of some further time, rather than go out and just buy a bunch of clothes and then throw out all the clothes I have, I want to slowly create a wardrobe that's a little bit more intentional. Right now it's more of a like whatever's comfortable, whatever fits, whatever's not in the wash. I do try to wear colors that I think work with me. I've seen a lot of those like find your own color palette style, what season are you videos, and I think I'm supposed to be like bright winter or cool winter or something like that, but I like autumn colors better, so I guess I'm wearing the wrong colors. Anyway, the weather is getting colder because it's May now, and I've you can't tell because I'm wearing a singlet, but I'm also wearing tracksuit bottoms and Ugg boots. When the Ugg boots are out, that means the weather is getting like finally not terrible. Finally a little bit enjoyable. I just realized I'm not actually using my microphone, and I realized that because there's sirens going past. Just gonna wait till they get out of range. I don't know how good this microphone is just on my iPhone, but hopefully it's good enough. I'm not that far away from the iPhone, so really it should be fine. It's just usually you're used to me using my like this microphone that I hopefully works better than just no microphone other than your iPhone, but we shall see. The point of this channel is that I'm just ranting and talking and sharing where I'm at, and maybe 10 years from now, where I'm not completely repulsed at watching myself, I'll be like, oh yeah, that was a time, and I remember, and I can see, I will watch these videos and I will remember looking around my apartment whenever I'm trying to remember what I wanted to talk about, and it will be like a memory trigger for me. But for you, you're just seeing me sit here and talk. So let's do some more thing. I went to my sister's baby shower. That was a weird segue. My sister is pregnant with her first baby. I mean, she's married. It's an intentional baby. It's not just like, oh, she got pregnant by mistake. But I don't like the like we're pregnant thing. Like, I get that it's meant to be like as a team, they're being inclusive, and like a baby is on its way and they're going to both be parents, but the guy does nothing. Like, you got lucky, aka had sex, and I don't know why that was whispered. I swear in this channel. But like, the guy's role in the creation of the baby is not something that is terribly laborious, whereas the actual making the baby is months and months of not being great. So, I mean, I've never been pregnant, so I don't know firsthand, but the general consensus seems to be that, like, if you're pregnant, that sucks. And giving birth is really painful and quite traumatic. And awful if you didn't want to be pregnant to begin with and somebody forced you to stay pregnant. But in this case, that's not the case. And it's a very welcome baby, and we are very excited to be welcoming her. Tests indicate that it's a her. Mid-June. So I don't know if I'll make a video about that because it's not really my information to share, but if I get a picture of myself with my little niece, then I might pop that up. Have to ask my sister if she's comfortable with that kind of thing, and her husband, but mostly my sister because she's my sister. Hi Kim and Josh, if you're watching. Sorry Josh, I've been kind of a dick to you thus far. I do respect the role of the father. I just feel like it really comes more solidly after the baby is born. And I mean, if you're a good father, that is when the time cut. Like, when I hear about couples where they've had a baby, but the guy has never changed a nappy, he doesn't know how to prepare like stored breast milk or like he doesn't know how to do anything that a father should know how to do. He just like has a kid in the way that I have a handbag. It just exists. But not even like that, because I maintain my own handbag. Like, I don't get my boyfriend to look after my handbag until I feel like holding it. And then, okay, I've gone in a weird tangent again. I'm in a weird ranty mood. But, what have I been doing? I've been writing. I mean, I've been in a bit of a slump, but I've been forcing myself to use my Mondays that weren't public holidays. There've been a bunch of public holidays, including the Easter holidays. So like, I took those holidays and I completely lost momentum, and I'm trying to get back into the vibe now without forcing myself to do a hobby as though it's work. So I had a really good day this last Monday. I wrote all day and it just sort of flowed out of me, and it felt how it felt originally when I was just writing for me and not thinking about like people who are waiting on the next book, of which I think there is like one, maybe two. But yeah, it's one of the, it's weird to be a creator who then makes your creations available and you feel like you have to market that, but at the same time you just want to create things. And I haven't really made any money from anything I've created for my own love of creation, but they do feel so much more worthy than any of the stuff I make when I'm working for a corporation, and it's like making a flyer to sell a thing. People are going to look at the flyer and throw it away, and they don't really care who made it. They might buy the thing or they won't. I don't give a shit. Like, that's what a graphic designer is. They're the invisible person who makes you want to buy things, maybe. It depends if the designer is also the person who writes the like jingles or copy. That's like, usually there's a whole team involved, and the graphic designer makes it look pretty, but we don't necessarily come up with the phrasing or the like idea behind what is being sold, because usually you're not selling the product, you're selling the like desired lifestyle that somebody who might buy that product wants to have. If this is something you care about, let me know in the comments. I can get into more details about like the theory of marketing, but generally speaking, I just make things look pretty, and that's my job and that's what I get paid for. But I also like to do my own beautiful creations, whether it be art or writing, and they're the things that make me happy, but they're not necessarily the things that sell. And I feel like, especially on YouTube and social media, you see a lot of people who have shops and things like that where they seem to be pretty successful, and that can be inspirational, but it can also be demoralizing if you're not one of the people who has a huge following or is selling a lot of their creations to people. But I'm gonna keep making it. What else have I been doing in May? Oh, date night. So I say that like it's a very uncommon occurrence. Cam and I like to go for date nights whenever we can, and I'm very much a homebody, shockingly, so usually Cam will suggest if it's going to be a date night where we go out and do a thing. And this date night was kind of planned ahead of time, not in detail, but like thunderbolts came out and we decided to, well, before it came out, we did like a lead up watching all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So whenever we were watching TV, it wasn't actually TV, it was like a Marvel movie or one of the Disney shows that sort of like supplements the movies sometimes. So they introduce characters that are going to be in a movie, and so you need to, it's like homework before you watch the movie, except it's enjoyable because it's a TV show. But we watched all of those except Moon Knight because we didn't think that was going to be relevant in any movie coming up, but apparently like some of the ones coming up in future that aren't out yet, they will, at least one of them has something to do with Moon Knight, so we're going to watch that because it's like 6 episodes. But yes, we watched all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and the shows, and it did make Thunderbolts a lot more like meaningful, because I remembered all of the characters because I just watched all the things. So like Ghost, for example, when we watched Ant-Man and the Wasp, I forget which Ant-Man it was, they all meshed together now, but Ghost was kind of a bad guy in that, but like not a bad she's not bad in the sense that like she just wanted to not be in constant pain. So that's a decent reason to be like doing stuff. I don't think she really even killed people. Maybe she did, but so did like all the superheroes have killed people too. So I don't think that makes her a bad guy. Anyway, Ghost is in Thunderbolts. I would not have remembered her at all because I didn't remember her when I was watching Ant-Man, and it wasn't until she was on screen a few times that I'm like, I have seen this movie and now I do remember her. Okay. And I don't, having just seen Thunderbolts, I still can't remember the discount Captain America. Captain American Agent, or whatever his new name is. He's only in a TV show, I'm pretty sure. Unless he's in the new Captain America movie? See, they all mix in together, but I knew who he was because I watched them all, and that's my point. And of course, Florence Pugh. She is unforgettable, so I knew who she was and what her whole deal was. But like, yeah, it was a good cast. It was a good movie. I thought, in terms of, now we're just doing a Thunderbolts movie review, I thought that like it was kind of interesting that normally comics are very like metaphorical in terms of like this character represents depression or this character represents racism or something like that. This movie was pretty like, this guy, I think he's meant to be bipolar. Not sure about that. Let me know if you know more information about the main superhero slash villain guy. But like, it wasn't metaphorical when he was depressed. It was clearly depression. He was like he's literally called Void. It was a dark void where people are taken to like the worst moments of their lives and just reliving them and just like being miserable. Like, kind of dementory, like, but more hardcore because it's a superhero movie. And then when he was in a good mood, he was like unstoppable, shining, beautiful, like no one could touch him perfection, where it's like such high highs and such low lows. And there's a scene where like, because it's a superhero movie, usually you beat the bad guy by beating him up, but in this case it was a case of like, you can't get over depression by beating yourself up. You need like support from your friends, and you need to accept yourself. And it got very emotional, and it was really good. So hopefully go see it. Hopefully I haven't spoiled it for you. I don't think it's really a spoiler, but I do have a universal rule to do with spoilers that's controversial, where I say, if something has been like media, podcasts, books, TV shows, whatever, if you are very, very into that thing, you will have seen it within a month of it being available to the public. So I'm pretty sure Thunderbolts has been available to the public for at least a month now. If you were excited to see it, if you really didn't want spoilers, you would have seen it the day it came out. And if you didn't see it the day it came out, it means you don't like love it. It's not the best, most amazing thing in the world that you actually like, you didn't want to be spoiled. Like, you don't get to be upset about spoilers if you don't actually care about that thing. So like, if there is a book where you're like, oh yeah, I want to read it sometime. Oh, this thing, I saw what happens in it, and now there's spoilers, and now like, I'm not going to enjoy the book anymore. Like, is that the logic, that you're just not going to read the book because you know what happens in it? I don't really understand that, because most media, it's the journey, it's not the destination. So yeah, it might be a little disappointing if you get like a twist spoiled, but again, you'd probably be like, I see a twist coming because I've seen movies before, and it's leading towards a twist, obviously. Or it would be just a case of like the number of trailers these days where they literally just show the beginning, middle, and end of the movie, so you feel like you've seen the whole movie when you've watched the trailer. Like, I feel like spoilers aren't really a thing, especially not if the thing has been out for a little bit. So everyone needs to calm down about spoilers. This is a really long rant. I hope you're not bored. If you are, you probably clicked away from this video already. If you're still here, thanks for being cool with me. Hey. I have written down a bunch of things that I did, but most of them, they're just like living life. I might do like a little bit of a reel of footage that I got to do with what I was doing in my life, and maybe just do little captions about what this was, because why not? Here we go.